Okay, we are going to fill in the following table with either inequalities, graphs, or interval notations. So for the first one, we are given that 6 is greater than x. But then whenever we're trying to deal with graphs or interval notations, it will be easier if we put the x on the left hand side. But then this was the question though. So we have to change it carefully. 6 is greater than x. We are going to rewrite it as x is less than 6. So let's look at this instead. Okay, as you can see, the original one and the one I just wrote down, they are equivalent. The pointing thing is to the x, right? So right here, you see the pointing, this right here is still to the x. Okay, so based on this, this is how the graph will be. Let me put this in blue for you guys. So let's draw a number line, and then let me just indicate, here's my 0, and then I care about 6, so let me just go ahead and do it right here. Well, this is less than, so I'm not going to include the 6. Let me put an open circle, and because this is x is less than, so I'm just going to color it, shade it to the left like this, from 6 and to the left. And for the interval notation, this is how we do it. Well, look at this piece of the interval. Let's put down the left endpoint first, but then this right here, it keeps on going forever to the left, so that's going to be negative infinity. And we will put down the right endpoint, which is the 6 right here. Alright, and now let's see. For infinities, either negative infinities or positive infinities, we are going to use parentheses because we can never include what infinity is. And for this 6, you see this was an open circle, we will use parentheses as well, because once again, parentheses means that we do not include. So this right here is it. And now let's see how can we go from a given interval notation to graph and to its inequality version. So let's see how can we make the graph for this. Let me draw a number line, and let's look at this piece first, from -4 to 1/3. And let me just label, let's say -4 is right here, and then positive 1/3 is right here. Okay, and let's finish this part first. Well, this is a square bracket, this is also a square bracket. That means we will include -4 and we will also include positive 1/3. So we are going to use closed circle right here and closed circle right here. And you see this is the left endpoint, this is the right endpoint, and we have our first interval in between like this. For the second one, the union means that we have another one together on the graph. For this one, we begin at 5, so let me just mark, here is the 5, and then we go all the way to the right because this is past infinity. However, this 5 was for parentheses, so we'll open a circle right here, and then we go all the way to the right, like this. And that will be the graph for this. Well, how can we change this to an inequality? Let's look at the first one first. As we can see, we have a left endpoint and a right endpoint, so we will have x's in between. So let's put on the x in the middle, and then we will have the -4 right here, and then a positive 1/3, like this, okay? And because this is a solid circle, like closed circles right here, so we'll use this symbol, less than equal to, less than equal to. Keep in mind, whenever we have just one piece of interval like this, where we have the left endpoint and the right point, put the x in the middle, and then the left endpoint right here, the right endpoint right here, and it's always going to be less than, less than. And depending on what kind of circle that we have, maybe we'll have to use the equal sign down below. But this right here is for this. We will use the word or because we have a second piece right here. This piece means we will have x is greater than 5. Okay, so let me put down x first, and anything toward the right of 5. So this will be just a bigger than 5. No equal here because this is open circle, because this was a parentheses. So this right here is it. Let's look at the next one. We are given a graph, and then we'll try to figure out the inequality and also the interval notation. Perhaps let's do the inequality first. For this right here, the number that we have is -3, and then we want to go toward the left. So that means we have x is less than or equal to -3. the less than equal to because this was a closed circle, so that's it. Or because we have the second piece, this right here, we start at 0 and we go to the right? So that means x is greater than or equal to 0. Once again, this is closed circle, we put on equal sign. And whenever we have two pieces of inequalities, right? Two pieces of the interval, we must write it down twice like this, okay? Interval notation for this one. Well, let's look at this. The left end point is all the way from the left, so that will be negative infinity, and the right end point is at -3. So we have it like this. And for infinity, we use parentheses, and for this -3, because this is a solid circle, we use a square bracket, and we'll put on union. For interval notation, we don't use the word or, we use union. Okay, this is the mathematical symbol for putting the intervals together. Anyways, for the second one that we have, which is right here, the left end point is 0, comma, and because this interval keeps on going to the right, that will be infinity. And then the 0 was included, let's use a bracket, and for this infinity, that will be parentheses. Okay, so this right here is it. And let me just say one more word about this. The reason I label the 0 right here is just that I like to separate where the negative numbers are and where the positive numbers are. So up to you if you want to use this 0 or not, because this is just x is less than 6. So you don't need to have this right here. But that's it.